Saraogi, MD of Balrampur Chini Mills, joins us on the line from Kolkata. Mr. Saraogi, great to have you. Thanks so much for taking the time out. Just one word before we come into pricing and some of the additional policy moves. The 1 million tons of sugar exports that have been announced under OGL, subject, I believe, to a couple of clearing from the Election Commission. Is this something that will result in higher realizations per se, or right now the prices would be at parity?
Good morning to everyone. I don't think that Election Commission issue is really important. I think the government's already got it cleared.
Okay.
That's to the best of my understanding. At present, I think the international price is slightly higher than the domestic price. And therefore, it should be, anybody exporting should have a positive realization beyond the domestic realization.
Right, but where do you see global sugar prices heading, considering that the supply concerns from Thailand are there, but production in Brazil is expected to increase?
So I don't think we're looking at any, big global crackdown or spike up from here. I don't think global prices, the Dubai conference just got over. I think people have come out a little, maybe, slightly saying prices might correct a little bit, but nothing too much.
Is there, however, a range that they're putting prices within?
Sorry?
Is there a range that people are expecting on prices?
A couple of cents here or down or up.
Okay, Mr. Saraogi, the last 2 or 3 months have probably been the best 3 months in terms of news flow for the sugar pack. Whether or not some moves get taken in the next 1 month or the next 3 months is anybody's guess. But at least the news flow, the stance of the government in order to do a few things have been extremely positive. How buoyant are you per se, individually, of some of these moves going through? Maybe the levy sugar quota being abolished, or maybe some more steps towards decontrol. How positive or buoyant are you individually?
See, personally, I would be looking at abolition of levy from the industry. And, which means the industry does not bear the cost of levy. The government would continue to distribute sugar in the PDS system. So I think I personally see that after UP elections, the chances of this could be very high.
And to your mind, Mr. Saraogi, at least a few people believe that if indeed this happens, this is probably by far the single biggest incentive or the single biggest move which is positive for the sugar industry after, of course, the ethanol movement then came about. Is that a correct analysis? You think that will be a big positive if indeed it does go through?
Yeah, I think this levy would be a very big move. And, first of all, let's understand that this is not something which is, something out of the blue or out of the moon.
Sure.
It's something very normal. All the, any kind of, 1 lakh crore is the food subsidy budget. So any subsidy on any food product is being done by the government. This is the only industry which is running the subsidy on account of the government. So A, it's very logical, and B, I think it is a very good move. And it's a long-term positive move, and it would lead to, at least on the finished product side, the decontrol would begin, and I don't think thereafter you would have much left.
Mr. Saraogi, what is your current cost of production for sugar, and what is your outlook on domestic sugar prices then?
Based on 240 UP's production, UP's cost of production should be 32 plus. This is including interest, etc. And our view on realization is that post-April we should see better realization. So it's too early to say, because you would have a requirement of one more round of export. We do not have the entire production estimate right now. So depending on all this and depending on how government handles policy, I think prices could move upward if policies are handled correctly.
Okay, in fact, Mr. Saraogi, as we wind down, that was probably going to be my next question. I know we don't have the correct estimates of how production figures would be for the next year, but 3 or 4 days back, if I'm not wrong, the long-dated contracts of sugar were showing an uptick compared to the near-dated contracts, which I would presume led people, or at least some of the speculative traders were believing that the production figures would be lower in the next sugar year compared to what they are right now or what the belief is right now. Is there a sense that maybe 6 months or 8 months down the line, prices would from these levels be definitely higher, or is it too difficult a call to take right now?
See, it is difficult because Indian prices would behave primarily on the Indian production.
Sure.
So if I conclude by saying that, this year's production, let's say, it is in a band between 25 to 26, or let's say 25.5, the next year's production is a factor of sowing which would happen this year. So we'll get to know more about that by the month of April. That's which, sowing would get 90% complete by then. So Indian production, Indian prices, a more authentic view would be available probably after April.